In our area, there's this particular wasp who lays its egg on spiders. So this wasp catches a whole bunch of spiders, paralyzes them with its venom, pile them up in her nest, and lay an egg on top of him. After several weeks, wasp's larva hatches out, eating paralyzed spiders alive. But every now and then, fire ants, who are also dominant in our area, attacks her nest, killing wasp's larva as well as spiders. Maybe this small story is a little bit funny depending on how you look at it, but the humor disappears when you look at the world around you.
They throw away 95% of the shark, which is a huge waste.
That it didn't stand a chance of escaping.
As Arthur Schopenhauer says, "For whence did Dante take the material of his hell but from our actual world, and yet made a very proper hell out of it? But when on the other hand he came to describe heaven and its delight, he had an insurmountable difficulty before him, for our world affords no material at all for this." But the same philosopher says that life isn't suffering. What? He says the world that we perceive is a representation. It's merely the intermixing of five senses, which doesn't hold any meaning in and on itself. We could just be a brain floating in a jar in another galaxy. There is no God other than humans who say killing capybaras is evil, or you go to hell if you murder your uncle. World is neutrality. It's just a representation who doesn't hold any meaning in and on itself. But then why do we still suffer? Arthur Schopenhauer says that there is a blind, irrational, selfish force that's found in all living things. As he says, like a strong blind man who carries on his shoulders a lame man who can see. This will to life, as he calls it, is a sense of I that possesses all living things, who cares about nothing but myself, my survival, and how can I thrive. Now this will to life can be as big as smuggling drugs for more money, or as small as using your smartphone. Every time there's an I, there's will to life. We are all possessed by this sense of I, and through its endless desires, we suffer. And Schopenhauer's way out of suffering is consciously tearing apart this I, this will to happiness, by denying urge to happiness. That means throwing your phone in the nearest lake, sledgehammering your Wi-Fi router, sleeping on a rugged kitchen carpet, doing fasting for a week, and realizing life isn't as bad as you thought, and then by accepting everything within, all good or bad, everything without, all good or bad. This rock, despite of its imperfections, doesn't hate anything in itself. When you curse him, he accepts you, and hence separation is non-existent, and hence suffering is. Turtle is like a blue extending as far as I could reach. He's like a forest, evergreen and growing. Trees bless him all health and fortune, for he blesses them back. Fishes want to become like him, and yet he says, because the world is sick, I am sick. Because people are suffering, I have to suffer.